He won more than 990 matches. He appeared in 27 Grand Slam finals, and he won 19 Grand Slam titles. He is arguably the toughest player on the tour, and as you've already guessed, I'm talking about Rafael Nadal. And in this video, we're gonna talk about what makes him such a psychologically undefeatable warrior. It is so easy to detach yourself from someone like Rafael Nadal and think that he is a superhuman and that he was born that way. But the real truth is that Rafael Nadal and other greatest athletes in the world have been able to find the way to become psychologically tougher than the rest of the players on the tour or in their sport. Not only is Nadal able to control his own emotions, he is able to get into the heads of his opponents even before the match has started. And today we're gonna go through 10 psychological weapons that Rafael Nadal is using to defeat his opponents right now. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce you to the concept that was called by David Goggins, taking souls. And let's watch David Goggins talk about it right now.
I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you. That's what I realized. I was never breaking the soul of anything in front of me. So that's why I came up with a thing called taking souls in my book. I started to devise ways to break a soul of a human being, of an object, of whatever's in front of me. If you keep on attacking something, nothing wants to stand in front of anything that is relentless. Nothing.
A great example of taking a soul is in the movie Rocky. When Rocky was fighting Apollo Creed in round 14, when Apollo Creed almost knocked Rocky down, and Rocky is on the ground and the whole crowd is screaming, "Stay down, stay down." Nevertheless, Rocky was able to get back up. And Apollo Creed had already turned around and raised his arms as if he had already won, but the life leaves his face when he notices that Rocky had been able to got up. And as David Goggins said, just by getting up, not winning, just by getting up, he has taken his soul. And that's what I see Nadal doing every single match. He's getting the balls that seem impossible to get. He's winning the points that seem impossible to win. And in Nadal's autobiography, he actually confesses that when he was playing Wimbledon final in 2008, which was the first Wimbledon that he has ever won, his decision before the match was to make sure that even if Roger won, he was gonna have to fight for every single inch of the game. And even if you've ever played against an opponent like that, like Nadal, I mean, you realize what it feels like to play against someone who just doesn't give up. Even if you win a single point, it's still so psychologically and emotionally hard because you had to put so much effort into winning a single point. It really has a debilitating effect on opponent's psychology. While being able to cope with your own emotions is great, and realizing that you have to get into the opponent's head is even better, but is it really enough to become an elite athlete or elite tennis player? And the answer is, of course, it isn't, because hard work and overcoming your own insecurities and weaknesses during the practice season is what allows one to be competitive on the court or field. As a renowned and successful Australian tennis player, Leighton Hughes said, "Matches are won and lost many times in the locker room." I would even simplify that a little bit and say that most matches are won and lost during the practice season. Practice is where the real fight occurs. It's you against yourself, against your own insecurities, against your lack of self-belief, against your laziness. And oftentimes it feels like a gamble because you don't even know, oftentimes we don't know if your hard work is even gonna pay off. Nadal realized early in his career that treating practice like a real thing is what really could set him apart from the rest of the tennis players. And Rafael Nadal credits his uncle Tony for the level of mental toughness that he has. because Tony was the one who pushed Rafael Nadal to the maximum of his physical ability during the practice, and this allowed him to become as mentally tough as he is. One of the best and most shocking examples of Nadal's work ethic and dedication is the memory he recalls at the very end of his book, after he won US Open against Novak Djokovic, which allowed him to gather career Grand Slam. That night when he beat Djokovic, he flew back to Manacor, and next morning by 5 a.m. New York time, he was already on the court practicing as if he just was at the beginning of his career. And I truly do not believe there was no time available for Rafael Nadal in Manacor at, let's say, 2 p.m. New York time, 10 a.m. or even 8 a.m. But he chose 5 a.m. strategically, I believe, to take on challenges that may seem even absurd to people from the outside. And in his book, he actually describes how a lot of even tennis players were shocked by his extreme level of work ethic that seems unreasonable. Because it seems pointless from the outside. In reality, though, him practicing at 5 a.m. next morning is what reflects his discipline to create his own confidence and keep pushing his own abilities. It is through routine practice, as mundane as it seems, no matter where he is in the world, that he is able to play the games that seems otherwise just impossible to play. Okay, now third quality that helps Nadal succeed and stand out, in his own words, is patience. Rafael Nadal defines patience as ability to accept the world as it is instead of wishing it were different. To be patient means to look forward and not backward. It means to clearly understand where you're at the moment and remain level-headed. Nadal describes how he manages to stay patient through his controlling his emotions and thoughts. Elon Musk even calls failure to stay patient as a trap of wishful thinking. And let's listen to what Elon Musk had to say about this trap of wishful thinking.
Mistakes people generally make, and I'm guilty of it too, is wishful thinking. You know, like, you want something to be true even if it isn't true. And so you ignore the things that, you ignore the real truth because of what you want to be true. This is a very difficult trap to avoid.
While being objective about where you're at and where you're going is critical to success, Nadal's next rule is actually staying present in the moment. One of the examples that he gives once again in his book is Wimbledon 2008, that match against Federer, final of Wimbledon, when the score was 3-4 in the final set and a break point on Nadal's serve. Nadal writes, "I didn't think about the consequences. I didn't think that if I lost this point, Roger was gonna lead 5-3 and the game was going to be over. I only thought that I have to focus all of the energy I had, every brain cell. I had to mobilize everything I knew in this life to win this single point." The power of present moment is described in a lot of self-help books, such as A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle and The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galloway. Staying at the present moment really helps alleviating anxiety and stress, and it's described in these books, and I really recommend that you guys read these books if you haven't already. As I've mentioned in the beginning of this video, Rafael Nadal is able to control his emotions, and in one of his press conferences, he actually says that body language plays a huge role, not a huge role, but an important role, and let's listen to what he had to say about it.
Points, when you didn't win them, you didn't seem frustrated, there was no body language. How'd you get so calm?
No, I was not calm. No, I was nervous, but all the body language that is not in a positive way is stupid to make it, because it's going against you. So it's one of the things that I tried to do all my life, that the body language helps me not go against me, because it's one of the things that depends on just on me, not on the opponent. So was not the day to have a negative body language. Completely the opposite, and just to accept all the moments. You know, when you play a Grand Slam final, that you're gonna be nervous. You're gonna miss probably some opportunities with break points. I missed a couple of returns. He played well, but that's part of the game, and I have been ready to accept all these moments and to, as I said before, to compete well all the tournament.
Amy Cuddy is an American social psychologist and a big advocate of importance of body language, and she even states that body language may shape who you are, which was in a scientific world of psychology very controversial statement, let's put it that way. From my personal experience, I can say that body language sometimes might not be extremely helpful in putting you into a great mood, positive body language I mean, but when you or someone has negative body language, it really has a detrimental effect on your mood if your body language is negative during the match or the game. And as Rafael Nadal said, it's totally in your control, and that's a great tool to use during the match to help you stay positive. And for part 2 of Rafael Nadal's Secret to Success, click on one of the squares that has probably appeared on the screen right now to watch your favorite players' strategies and tricks and tips, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching this video till the end.